Chapter 302. Chapter 302, Give me a reason to beat you. Why is Mr. Fang the advisor? Oh no, this is a major misunderstanding now. Members of the Bai family and the Chen family looked frustrated and anxious. If they had known that the advisor from the Yanhuang faction was Fang Jueyu, they definitely wouldn't have jumped into this mess. Even though both families had a good relationship with Fang Jueyu, even if they didn't, they would never dare stand against him by siding with the ancient martial association. Leaving aside the fact that Fang Jueyu's strength was unfathomable, just his mythical realm bodyguard alone could flatten the whole ancient martial association. Now they finally understood why the government dared to claim boldly they could manage the ancient martial association with just over 30 people and a dog. It turns out they were well prepared. But wasn't someone like this usually like a reclusive high master who wouldn't participate in worldly disputes? Why would Fang Jueyu represent Yanhuang to take a stand? No matter what, today they had to choose the right side. Although they were members of the ancient martial association, they absolutely could not offend Fang Jueyu. If a confrontation arose later, they would undoubtedly side with Fang Jueyu. Master, the young master just asked me to tell you, whatever happens today, do not help the ancient martial association against this advisor. Only Qin Yun from the Qin family recognized Fang Jueyu. He couldn't watch his family go against Fang Jueyu. If it were the former Qin Yun, he had some say in the family, but with such a major issue involving the freedom of the ancient martial world, the elders would never relent. But now Qin Yun's status was even higher than the elders of the family, so they had to take his opinion seriously. Master, the young master said he couldn't tell you the specific reason, but if advisor Fang wanted to destroy the entire ancient martial association, it would be ridiculously easy. The family head of the Qin family's expression turned extremely grave as if he was contemplating something. Finally, he nodded, "Relay my order. If a conflict occurs later, no one is to make a move." Why is it him again? As a major faction, the Gogh sword sect was naturally present at such a grand event. The moment Gu Mo saw Fang Jueyu, his hand trembled involuntarily. For this young demon-like man, he felt only deep fear. Besides the Gogh sword sect, the family head of the Huang family also turned pale. The last time he attended the Chen family's birthday banquet, he was thrown out like a chick by a mythical realm powerhouse. That scene was still deeply engraved in his mind. For a moment, a strong desire to retreat grew in their hearts. Although that mythical realm expert was not present, such a mysterious being could be hiding somewhere. If he stepped out, what resistance could the ancient martial association possibly have? However, Chairman Sun Xing of the Ancient Martial Association knew nothing of this. Those who had seen Gu Yi only dared to bury the secret deep in their hearts. Fang Jueyu had once threatened them, and they didn't dare reveal it. Wu Li, are you going to betray the Ancient Martial Association? Sun Xing's eyes locked onto Wu Li, knowing that Wu Li could understand him. A hint of disdain appeared in Wu Li's eyes. Although Sun Xing was the chairman of the Ancient Martial Association, in Wu Li's eyes, that title meant nothing. Only those 3 divinity transformation realm monsters could pose any threat to him. Though Sun Xing possessed the strength of the heavenly human realm, if he were to fight Wu Li, he likely wouldn't last a few rounds. Hey, stop asking. She's already become my dog Guzi's woman and only listens to me and Guzi now, so save your effort. Fang Jueyu pointed to Guzi perched on Wu Li's head. Rubbish, Sun Xing absolutely felt that Fang Jueyu was treating him like a fool. How could such a fierce beast be tainted by a tiny mutt? But why else would it allow a dog to sit on its head? Could he be telling the truth? Yet it defied common sense. Are you the chairman of the Ancient Martial Association? Fang Jueyu walked forward. Yes, I am Sun Xing, chairman of the Ancient Martial Association. Chairman Sun, I want to ask why, 3 days ago, when I sent a notice saying I would be returning to handle the handover of management for the Ancient Martial Association, you closed the door to me and even set arrays and beasts to obstruct me. Although the meaning was clear enough, Fang Jueyu acted on behalf of the chief, so he had to be mindful of language and presentation. Hahaha, Advisor Fang, those arrays in Wu Li are long-term protections for Langya Mountain safety. We forgot to remove them in our oversight, Sun Xing said. However, we're impressed by the advisor's ability to easily get through these 2 hurdles. I, Sun Xing, am full of admiration. Very well, in that case, I won't dwell on this matter. This time, I'm here to pass on a message from the chief. Since everyone is here today, I don't need to go around. Advisor Fang, please proceed. Since it's from the chief, we will certainly listen attentively. Here's the situation. The state has been far too lenient in its control over martial artists, leading to unreasonable situations like management fees. Therefore, the chief hopes to manage martial artists like superpower users within a formal framework. We hope Chairman Sun will cooperate. This, Sun Xing, never expected Fang Jueyu to be so direct, intending to dissolve the ancient martial association and place it directly under state management. The wealth of the ancient martial association was considerable, but beyond that lay the loss of significant freedoms under state control. This was unacceptable to most families and factions. Advisor Fang, we will seriously consider the chief's proposal, but under the current conditions it isn't feasible, Sun Xing said. The ancient martial world has long been self-governing and has developed its own management model. Sudden changes could lead to some unrest. Sun Xinghe didn't state it outright, but the meaning was clear. If Fang Jueyu insisted on interfering in the ancient martial world's management, they wouldn't hesitate to resist. It seems Chairman Sun is unwilling to cooperate. Fang Jueyu's expression grew cold instantly. Hey, old man, our advisor is negotiating with you nicely. Don't be oblivious to kindness. One of Fang Jueyu's superpower users couldn't help but speak up. Exactly. The advisor managing you is giving you face. Don't refuse to accept it graciously. What an honor to have an advisor, just a snot-nosed brat. A sect leader could no longer bear it and spoke up. Did Yanwang really send a kid to manage them because they looked down on them? Want to manage the ancient martial world? Fine, but you better have the skills. That sect leader leaped forward, being a genuine innate realm expert. Advisor Fang, I am Zhuang Yuzi, sect leader of the Green Pond sect. Let's not beat around the bush. If you can make us submit today, we will accept the management. But if you don't have what it takes, please leave. Zhuang Yuzi, what a stupid name. I could be pretend Yuzi, Fang Jueyu muttered. Very well, he smiled slightly. I've wanted to give you self-important, nose in the air guys a beating for a while, and today you gave me the chance. Who's up? Bai Yuniao, take care of this pretend Yuzi. Got it, advisor. Bai Yuniao stepped forward, exuding the aura of a superpower user. Sect leader Zhuang, our advisor wants me to handle you. Chapter 303. Chapter 303. He is the least skilled here. Bai Yuniao's name sounded somewhat refined, but when combined with his appearance, it was truly shocking to people. Before his superpower awakening, Bai Yuniao was a professional pig butcher. He was tall and large, with a big belly and a face full of stubble, completely an uncultured brute. But once when he fell seriously ill with a fever, he just happened to be slaughtering pigs that day and fainted from dehydration. Several pigs even treated him as one of their own and pushed him into the pig pen, with no one noticing at all. He was unconscious for 3 days before waking up. After that, he discovered his strength had increased a lot, and his speed had also improved significantly. He could slaughter 10 or 20 pigs in the time it took others to kill one. As his powers grew stronger, he was discovered by the people of the National Yanwang Organization and was recruited. After several years of training, he became an SSS-level superpower user. Swish, a longsword gleaming with a cold light was unsheathed. Sun Xing was a bona fide sword cultivator. His swordsmanship was not something the second-rate Gyuking sword sect could compare to. His sword was called the Star River Sword, also an innate weapon that could cut hair. Clang, clang. 2 knives appeared in Bai Yuniao's hands, but their shape was somewhat bizarre. People from the ancient martial sect had never seen such strange weapons, and they curiously examined the wide blades. What are you looking at? Never seen a pig-killing knife. Bai Yuniao rubbed the 2 knives together in front of him. I used to be a pig butcher, spent my life using these things. Other weapons just don't feel right in my hands. Too much arrogance. Sun Xing's mouth twitched slightly. This advisor Fang had actually sent a pig butcher to face him in a duel. He, the dignified chairman of the Ancient Martial Arts Association, was being compared to a pig butcher, which was an enormous insult. Ignorant child, you probably don't know that I am already at the mid-stage heavenly human realm, do you? Sun Xing unleashed the aura from his body without reservation. Mid-stage heavenly human realm was almost equivalent to a 5th-grade superpower user, while Bai Yuniao was merely a 2nd-grade superpower user. Why so much nonsense? Bai Yuniao grabbed his pig-killing knife and threw it towards Sun Xing. Petty trick? Bai Yuniao's throwing strength was immense, and the speed of the flying knife was incredibly fast. However, Sun Zing's power was not weak. He casually raised his sword to block and deflected the pig-killing knife away. Flash step. Bai Yuniao's body seemed to vanish in an instant, and when he reappeared, he was already behind Sun Zing. He caught the deflected pig-killing knife and swung it fiercely at Sun Zing's back. What? How could he be so fast? Sun Zing didn't even see when Bai Yuniao had gotten behind him. Clang! The weapons clashed, sparks flew, and Bai Yuniao's strength was immense, even greater than Sun Zing's, forcing him to take several steps back from the sheer force. Flash step. Bai Yuniao disappeared again, reappearing once more behind Sun Zing. Sun Zing was utterly frustrated. He simply had no opportunity to use his ultimate skills. Bai Yuniao's speed was so mysteriously unpredictable that he couldn't even capture a glimpse of him. It was worth noting that Bai Yuniao still weighed over 200 pounds. Who the heck had ever seen a fat guy this agile? Even for a superpower user, it was outrageous. You are too weak. Bai Yuniao's eerie voice came from behind Sun Zing. Death Lotus. Bai Yuniao's body suddenly spun at an extreme speed. The two pig-killing knives seemed to become implements manipulated freely in his hands, appearing as if countless blades shot out from Bai Yuniao's body from afar. At first, Sun Zing could barely defend, but the storm-like attacks were indeed too dense. He lasted only 5 seconds before his defense was shattered by Bai Yuniao's Death Lotus, leaving his body covered in numerous cuts. Why does this move look so familiar? The disciples of the sects whispered below. Have you forgotten? Last time when we secretly went down the mountain for a game, an opponent named Carter single-handedly wiped us out. Her ultimate move was Death Lotus. While game mechanics have actually appeared in reality, how did he train this? How would I know? That guy is at least as powerful as a superpower user. Their skills are diverse, how could we possibly know? Not bad, not bad, you grasped quite a bit of it. Fang Jueyu did not bring these superpower users into the Super God Academy. The Flash Step and Death Lotus were skills taught directly by Fang Jueyu. Bai Yuniao's speed boost allowed him to unleash terrifying speed in a short time. Besides strength and speed enhancement, he also had a metal manipulation ability. This ability wasn't too strong overall, but it was more than enough to manipulate a few weapons. This was the reason why Fang Jueyu taught him this move. Clang! Sun Zing's longsword flew out of his hand, his entire outfit turned into rags, and his body was covered with numerous wounds. This was still due to Bai Yuniao's restraint. Advisor, I'm back. Bai Yuniao retreated back to the team. Go rest, Fang Jueyu nodded. He was very satisfied with Bai Yuniao's performance. Defeating the chairman of the Ancient Martial Arts Association in the first battle significantly boosted their momentum. Are you convinced? Fang Jueyu walked up to Sun Zing. Oh, I forgot to tell you, this batch of superpowers users was personally trained by me. The one just now was the weakest among us. Sun Zing's eyes twitched. Even a heavenly human realm expert like him was utterly defeated, and that pig butcher was actually the weakest. Didn't this mean the 30 others were equivalent to 30 experts at the pinnacle of the heavenly human realm? No, wait. They also have 4 elders at the divinity transformation realm. No matter how strong these people are, they definitely can't match up to divinity transformation experts. All right, I'll give you an opportunity first. Those willing to accept Yan Huang's management transformation, come to my side. You have 1 minute, Fang Jueyu announced loudly. Advisor Fang, my Bai family is willing to accept Yan Huang's management. Bai Ruhai was the first to step forward with his family. Bai family head, you. The surrounding families showed puzzled expressions. The great elder of the Ancient Martial Arts Association hadn't even appeared yet, so why were they so afraid of this young advisor? Oh, old Bai, you're here too. Fang Jueyu hadn't even noticed them until now. And us too. Chen Wei stepped forward with his family to stand behind Fang Jueyu. Then there was the Qin family with Qin Yun, the Huang family that had been thoroughly defeated last time, and even the Gyuking sword sect. Besides these, many large and small families also came forward. Some of them had never seen Fang Jueyu in action, but they knew that this young man had a mythical-level superpower backing him. Wouldn't it be suicidal to oppose him? Ah, if we had known you were the advisor, we wouldn't have muddled into Tang Tang's affairs, Chen Wei and others said with a wry smile. Advisor Fang, you won't hold it against us, will you? Ha ha ha, it's not a big deal. I didn't tell you in advance either. As long as you are willing to follow the management, I won't bother with past issues. Gradually, more than half of the people from the Ancient Martial Arts Association had walked over. The elders and higher-ups were a bit confused. How could they all give in so quickly after just one fight? "What are you all doing? Come back here," Sun Xing yelled. "Have you forgotten we have divinity transformation experts here? Even that woman couldn't do anything to us. What storm can these people stir up?" At this moment the family head of the Chen family stood forward. "Chairman, let me advise you, accept Advisor Fang's management. Your entire Ancient Martial Arts Association can't afford to provoke him." Chapter 304. Chapter 304. Shocking surprise unexpected. Family head Chen, family head Bai, what's going on with you both? Are you so easily frightened by this so-called advisor? Sun Xing never expected such a one-sided situation. Nearly two-thirds of the people had switched to Fang Jueyu's side. Even if there was to be a betrayal, shouldn't there be some hesitation and thought about it? They moved over almost without thinking and even seemed eager to do so. Sun Xing wondered if he had missed some crucial intel that led to this. "You guys stop hiding, I can see you," Fang Jueyu shouted at the towering statue at the mountain gate. Hey, Dean, you still found us." Qin Yun came out with a cheeky grin, and both Bai Yu and Chen Menghan looked quite embarrassed. "Tusk, with your level of cultivation, how could you hide from me?" Fang Jueyu waved his hand. Go, return to your elders, don't interfere with my work." The three of them, as if receiving a pardon, quickly scurried back to their family's ranks. "What's up with them?" "I don't know, they seem to be really afraid of him." "No, I saw admiration and respect in their eyes." "Did you notice, they called that advisor Dean? Does that mean this advisor is connected to some school?" "You do know, this advisor Fang is also the richest man in the world and even owns a mental hospital. How can you be so out of the loop in this day and age?" The ones still remaining in the Ancient Martial Association were full of speculation. These three prodigies had always presented themselves with arrogance since they rose to fame, but they never showed this kind of submissive attitude. What kind of relationship did they have with this advisor Fang? Yet, without a doubt, those remaining on the opposing side were filled with confidence in the Ancient Martial Association. After all, those three hadn't appeared yet, and as long as those three didn't fall, Yanwang should give up trying to control their ancient martial world. "You're heading for disaster," Sun Xing glanced at those who had chosen to stand behind Fang Jueyu. "It seems you've lived a comfortable life for too long and have forgotten how we fought to earn our status back then. From now on, it's time for a thorough reorganization of the Ancient Martial Association." Sun Xing pulled out a wooden plaque of ancient design from his sleeve, slapped it, and the plaque shattered instantly. A pale green light shot out towards the top of a tower deep within the Ancient Martial Association. "Advisor, that tower is where the great elder of the Ancient Martial Association practices. He's the only one in Huaxia who reached the mid-stage of the divinity transformation realm," Yang Lei detailed, fully playing the role of a sycophant. "Years ago, Yanwang even sent people over, including the chairman. But after a long battle with the great elder, there was no victor, and she even slightly suffered, eventually retreating in defeat." "Oh, you know quite a bit." Fang Jueyu looked at Yang Lei with newfound respect. Clearly, this was not information a low-level outer disciple would typically know. Advisor Fang, to be honest, while we outer disciples have low cultivation, we're spread throughout the Ancient Martial Association. Occasionally, we overhear things we shouldn't. Our intel is quite good," said Yang Lei. "The great elder's name is Mu Feng, and I hear he's already 270 years old. He's also a sword cultivator, but instead of swordsmanship, he practices sword arrays. He can control 4 innate flying swords alone, and his power is unfathomable." "Oh, a sword array, that's quite rare." Fang Jueyu had learned about the existence of sword arrays only at the Super God Academy. The strong individuals in the universe could even control thousands of flying swords by themselves, capable of destroying heavens and earth. It's quite remarkable for such a powerful sword cultivator to appear on the small planet Earth. "Xingha, I've told you many times not to bother me unless it's urgent. What major event is happening today?" Just then, an ancient voice came from the tower, as if a loudspeaker was installed on it. This voice was transmitted through profound, innate true qi, causing the weaker disciples to feel as if their eardrums were about to burst just by the sound. "Damn it, trying to act like some kind of hermit master." Fang Jueyu hated people who put on an air of mystique. "I should have brought a loudspeaker." "Great Elder, Yanwang has sent people again. My cultivation is low, I can't handle them. I ask the Great Elder to repel the enemy." Sun Xing respectfully addressed the direction of the tower. Yan Huang again. Mufeng's tone turned serious upon hearing the name. Mufeng was a once-in-a-century genius in the ancient martial world and currently the last hope of breaking through the mythical realm. For innate masters, 300 years was the maximum lifespan. Originally, Mufeng had a great chance to attempt breaking through to the mythical realm before turning 300. If successful, he would become a legend in the ancient martial world for centuries. However, after his battle with the Yan Huang chairman, although he drove her back, he got injured, and these injuries had hindered him from reaching the peak of the divinity transformation realm. This might even be his final limit. Thus, he harbored deep resentment towards Yan Huang. Yan Huang, how timely, I shall settle the old score today. Mufeng approached with sword in hand, dressed in a gray robe, surrounded by piercing sword qi, as if he were a sword himself. Such a powerful aura. Fang Jueyu stared at the old man in front of him, the strongest opponent he had ever faced. Why is it a young man? Mufeng had thought it would be the Yan Huang chairman. Where is Long Ting? Great Elder, this is an honorary advisor sent by Yan Huang. I don't know his strength, but all 30 people behind him are superpower users, and they are quite powerful, Sun Xing explained. Are they the ones who injured you? Mufeng asked. It was that fat man with the butcher knife. HMPH, you can't even beat a second-stage superpower user. Is that mid-stage heavenly human realm cultivation just for show? Great Elder, these people aren't very high-level, but their energy is much thicker than ordinary superpower users, and their martial arts moves are very peculiar. HMPH, step aside. I want to see what capabilities this advisor has to think he can manage our ancient martial world. With big conflicts with Yan Huang already, and Mufeng having a bad temper, he didn't even think about negotiating with Fang Jueyu. 4 God Sword Formation. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. 4 longswords flew out from Mufeng's back, each one an innate weapon. Under Mufeng's sword array, they manifested the phantoms of the Azure Dragon, White Tiger, Vermilion Bird, and Black Tortoise, capable of both offense and defense. It was these 4 gods' sword formation that once allowed him to drive away the Yan Huang chairman Long Ting. HMPH, a second-level sword array only. Let me show you what a real sword array is. Facing an expert of the divinity transformation realm, Fang Jueyu had to bring out his full strength. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. One by one, precious swords flew out from him, with no one knowing where they came from, as if they appeared out of thin air. 10, 20, 50, 100. A total of 100 flying swords formed a mysterious sword momentum in the sky. A 4th-level sword array. Mufeng was dumbfounded. The ability to control more than 100 flying swords was only possible with a 4th-level sword array. But where did he get a 4th-level sword array manual? How did he have such great capacity to control so many flying swords? Heh heh, Fang Jueyu chuckled, seeing Mufeng's shocked expression. What do you think? Surprised, unexpected. The sword array was an extremely ancient and complex martial arts system in Huaxia, with very stringent requirements for practitioners. One not only needed sufficient understanding of the sword, but also immense spiritual power. The swordsmanship of the sword array had been lost for a long time. By chance, Mufeng obtained a partial copy of the sword array, which was originally supposed to be a 3rd-level array capable of controlling dozens of flying swords, but unfortunately, it was only a fragment. Mufeng spent decades deducing it, and only managed to complete part of it. After years of hard practice and honing his skills, Mufeng deciphered the secrets of the sword array and brought this long-lost sword array back to Huaxia's ancient martial world. The power exerted by each sword in the array was almost equivalent to the full strength of the user, meaning Mufeng, who mastered the 4 gods sword formation, was enough to match the power of 4 mid-divinity transformation realm experts. However, there was simply no other mid-divinity expert in this world. Therefore, he was a living legend in the ancient martial world. Even the Yan Huang chairman Long Ting was somewhat inferior to him. Invincibility was synonymous with him. Though estranged from battle formations for a long time, the strength he gained from rigorous training at the tower was far superior to his last encounter with Long Ting. Even if Yan Huang launched another full-scale attack on Langya Mountain, Mufeng would still not fear it. But who could have imagined that Fang Jueyu could also use a sword array, and immediately wielded hundreds of flying swords? It felt like you had trained tirelessly for 100 years to master an unrivaled martial skill, only to find that everyone possessed it upon stepping into the secular world to champion the weak and uphold justice. What kind of depressing feeling was this? Only a fourth level or higher sword array could control hundreds of flying swords. It took Mufeng over 30 years to completely master even a second-level sword array. Did he have a master guiding him? And how could a 20-year-old possess such tremendous spiritual power? Fine, your martial arts level is high, and your spiritual power strong, but over 100 swords, each one an innate weapon, while the entire ancient martial world scarcely possessed 100 innate weapons. Where did they come from? Little did he know that within Zio's storage space lay a mountain of weapons, nearly uncountable. His ancestors who studied the artifact refining technique were not merely a few, and these innate weapons were considered nothing more than feudal practice tools, worthless in their eyes. Mufeng was speechless, gazing at the overwhelming sword array, his limbs slightly trembling. Even having lived beyond 200 years and seen tremendous storms and waves, this was something he had truly never witnessed. No, he was merely at the innate realm. No matter how strong the sword array, he might not be my match. Mufeng pushed aside his unwilling emotions. The gap in their realms was vast, so great that even martial skills couldn't bridge it, so he hadn't lost yet. Capturing this so-called ancient martial figure alive might allow them not only to menace Yanhuang, but also give him a chance to gain high-level sword array training blueprints and his great secret from Fang Jueyu. With this thought, a deep greed and excitement appeared in his eyes, and the phantom images of the four gods hovering overhead became clearer. Watch how I break your sword array. A roar echoed in the void, as four treasure swords, accompanied by the ferocious beast's phantoms, surged toward Fang Jueyu's overwhelming sword array. HMPH, ignorance, Fang Jueyu sneered coldly. Although merely mid-hidden elementers, even masters of the heavenly human realm might not withstand him. The remaining gap was entirely compensated for by this fourth-level sword array. Great Thousand Sword Formation. With a flick of his finger, Fang Jueyu, like a general commanding thousands of troops, ordered the 100-plus flying swords to strangle Mufeng. The four-god sword formation was immensely fierce, and despite Fang Jueyu's sword array appearing even grander, the sharp sword chi continually bombarded the flying swords. Yet it seemed as ants shaking a tree. The attacks capable of crushing a small mountain failed to budge Fang Jueyu's sword array amidst such turbulent assault. Enough, that second-level petty sword array of yours should stop showing off in front of me. Fang Jueyu shook his head. Even he underestimated the power of this great thousand sword formation. Host, don't dawdle. Your current spiritual power is barely enough to control the fourth-level sword array. Finish him quickly, Zioyu reminded. Gosh, I almost forgot. Fang Jueyu nearly fainted from the spiritual power exhaustion when he first learned the great thousand sword formation. Though much more adept now, prolonged execution remained impossible. Shaking his head, he felt slightly dizzy already. Great thousand sword formation, space-time annihilation. Fang Jueyu stopped wasting time. The soaring sword array began radiating pale blue light as if brewing some attack. Break for me. Swish, swish, swish. Countless sword lights rained down like a meteor shower from the sky. These weren't merely sword chi, but also contained an annihilating power. The originally ferocious four-god phantoms were instantly shaken to the brink of collapse, their forms darkening. Crack, Mufeng's four innate weapons broke apart, even shredded to pieces by the dense sword rain. Body-protecting sword light. Sensing the situation, Mufeng immediately deployed his strongest defensive martial skill, but the golden protective shield covered with cracks in less than 5 seconds. If Mufeng were so wretched, others stood no chance. The martial artists still with the Ancient Martial Association shrieked shortly, as Fang Jueyu refrained from killing, only injuring, promising the chief to preserve Huaxia's power. Crack, Mufeng's body-protecting sword light finally shattered. His body was instantly engulfed by the sword light, drenched in blood. Thud, thud, thud. Over 100 flying swords plunged into the ground around Mufeng, seemingly imprisoning him. Fang Jueyu exhaled a breath, swallowing a pill as the energy nearly drained out of him in those brief seconds. After a few breaths, his breathing calmed significantly. Silence enveloped the entire mountain gate, especially for Sun Xing, whose face turned ghostly pale. No one expected that the martial artist they revered as a martial legend was so thoroughly defeated, utterly and totally. How could this be? Mufeng sat weakly on the ground, having been defeated in one blow by someone whose name he had never heard. Possessing such a level at 20 was already unheard of, yet also mastering such a formidable sword array. It felt as if they hailed from two utterly incomparable worlds. Mufeng's century-long renown and pride lay shattered, just like that. "Hey, you lost," Fang Jueyu said. "Do you find your defeat unbelievable and incomprehensible?" Mufeng weakly lifted his head, gazing at Fang Jueyu with a bewildered expression. Indeed, his defeat was hard to swallow. "Alas," Fang Jueyu sighed, "I've told you many times before. Martial artists should avoid provoking the immortal cultivators, but you just wouldn't listen." Chapter 306. Chapter 306. Taking pills as meals and treating martial arts as reading a newspaper. "Sword, come!" Fang Jueyu shouted, and the swords deeply embedded in the ground returned to their positions, disappearing one by one behind Fang Jueyu. "How's the dean getting more impressive? Even old Master O isn't even close to being a match for him." Chen Menghan recalled that the last time Fang Jueyu sparred with the sect leader of the Gukeng sword sect, his power level hadn't even reached the innate martial artist's level. "Standard operation. I wonder what exactly the dean has been learning. It's so cool. Is this the sword control technique?" Qin Yun said excitedly. "I suspect the dean has yet to use his full strength," Bai Yu speculated. "You see, every time he encounters a stronger opponent, he displays even more power. That he can defeat a mid-stage Divinity Transformation Realm opponent doesn't mean he can only defeat mid-stage Divinity Transformation Realm opponents, but rather that his opponents only possess that level of strength." "You've got a point." After hearing Bai Yu's analysis, it was like an exam where one person scored 99 and another scored 100, yet the gap between the two was not merely 1 point. The one who scored 99 only had the ability to score 99, whereas the one who scored 100 only had that score because the full score was 100. This was where Fang Jueyu was most unfathomable. Perhaps only a master of the mythical realm might be able to bring out the dean's full power. "Oh please, besides that one person under the dean, where else can you find another mythical realm master in the world?" "Oh damn, doesn't that mean the dean is invincible?" Qin Yun was suddenly struck by this possibility. No wonder the chief is confident in letting the dean be this honorary advisor to lead the management of the Ancient Martial Arts Association. With him stepping in, what can't be accomplished? Sigh, from today onward, a change is coming to the ancient martial world. Now, is there anyone who refuses to comply with the management of the Shengun Bureau? Fang Jueyu's eyes were like torches, scanning the remaining group of martial artists' faces. "I'll give you one more chance to choose. If you choose to comply with the Shengun Bureau's management, extend 2 fingers to make a heart symbol now." "What, make a heart? Shouldn't we be putting down our weapons and surrendering? What kind of move is this?" "Brother Joe, are you gonna do it?" "Nonsense. This advisor is so strong even old Master O was defeated. We're all injured. What room do we have for resistance?" "But he's just one person. We have dozens of heavenly human realm experts here, plus 3 hidden divinity transformation realm experts." "What's the use? Who among those heavenly human realm experts could block that swordsmanship move just now?" "Exactly, if he strikes again like that, none of us would survive together." Someone pointed to the 30 other superpower users. "Do you think those superpower users are just for show?" Earlier, this advisor said these 30 people were personally trained by him. No, personally trained, and the weakest among them defeated the chairman, a heavenly human realm expert. Then shall we give up on resistance?" "Let's give up, make the heart." "All right, let's just make the heart." Those ancient martial artists looked at each other, whispered among themselves, and after a few seconds, gradually raised their hands, extending 2 fingers to form an incredibly embarrassing heart shape. The great momentum was lost. Fang Jueyu had completely conquered everyone present. The chairman and elders of the Ancient Martial Arts Association let out a long sigh and followed suit, making the heart as a gesture of surrender. "Wouldn't it have been better if you'd all listened earlier?" Fang Jueyu said with satisfaction. "I'm a civilized person, yet you force me to act." "Civilized?" Bai Yu and the others immediately showed disdainful expressions. Fang Jueyu either threw money at people or beat them with fists. If such a person were considered civilized, then there wouldn't be any immoral people in the world. However, since the Ancient Martial Arts Association returned to Huaxia's management, from now on, they wouldn't enjoy the comforts of before. Previously, they could wield power arrogantly in the mundane world, amassing wealth without restraint. But once under regulated management, such opportunities would no longer be available. They estimated that the best treatment they could expect would be similar to that of Huaxia's superpower users. Although their lives wouldn't be strained, they definitely wouldn't be as luxurious as they were now. Without those riches, they wouldn't have resources to train new disciples. Those sects and families would gradually lose their former scale, and eventually, the Ancient Martial Arts Association would become a relic in name only. Hey, why are you all looking so glum? Fang Jueyu looked at the expressionless faces. Was accepting Huaxia's management really so painful? Sai Advisor Fang, you just don't know. Chen Wei from the Chen family approached and shared their concerns with Fang Jueyu. Fang Jueyu nodded. It's normal for them to have such worries, as the costs of practicing ancient martial arts were indeed far greater than those for superpower users. Without their original resources, it was naturally impossible to develop as prosperously as they were currently. Small matter, small matter. Fang Ju expanded his voice using inner strength. I understand your concerns now. Upon hearing this, everyone immediately looked up at Fang Jueyu. I'm telling you, with Huaxia managing you from now on, your development will only get better, Fang Jueyu said. First of all, everyone's income will be the same as superpower users, ranked according to strength. While you may not have the previous family or sect structure, task execution will be team-based, and our Shengun Bureau won't interfere with how teams are organized. Second, regarding your benefits, we'll manage them according to a strict attendance system. An attendance system. Hearing this term, novel to the ancient martial world, everyone displayed puzzled expressions. Such a system typically only existed in mundane companies. According to everyone's performance, staff from the Shengun Bureau will conduct evaluations to determine each individual's end-of-month rewards. These rewards include alchemical pills and martial arts techniques. For outstanding performers, there are mysterious grand prizes, and everyone will get something. Including alchemical pills and martial arts techniques, and everyone gets something. Impossible, right? There are only 3 alchemy masters in the world, and their alchemical pills are not enough for distribution. How is this possible? Are they trying to deceive us? What, you don't believe it? Fang Jueyu laughed. If you don't, why don't you ask them? What, advisor, what did you say? Those superpower users were daydreaming. I'm talking about the alchemical pills and martial arts techniques. Huh, you mean those dark pills you give us to eat every day? Advisor, you're too much. The superpower users immediately voiced their grievances. Those things have no flavor at all. After 2 months, our mouths have become bland as can be. And your martial arts techniques. They're strong, yes, but there are too many, and the practice methods are so weird that I have trouble reading them like newspapers. These days I feel like I'm becoming nearsighted. What? They eat alchemical pills like food. Did I hear wrong? Martial arts manuals are worse than newspapers. I doubt it, unless someone can explain to me how Huaxia suddenly gained so many superpower users, and they're all so skilled. Does it mean that if we accept Huaxia's management, we can be like that too? Oh my God, isn't that wonderful? Turns out we've been exploited by the Ancient Martial Arts Association for so many years. HMPH, they must have only been looking out for their own self-interests, completely disregarding ours. They're the ones getting rich, taking all the good stuff for themselves. Bis. Tonight Sun Xing bis the horse. Unexpectedly, Fang Jueyu's words not only made them completely willing to accept Huaxia's management, but also develop hatred toward the Ancient Martial Arts Association. Those members of the Ancient Martial Arts Association looked dejected. From this day forward, the Ancient Martial Arts Association would completely vanish from Huaxia. Chapter 307. Chapter 307. This is jaw-dropping. The Ancient Martial Arts Association was completely disbanded, with various factions scattered, and the peripheral members of the families were all included in the formal management of Yanhuang, registered and assigned positions. All the work was progressing in an orderly manner. Just as Fang Jueyu had promised the chief, he was only responsible for making them comply and served only as an honorary advisor. However, all the management had nothing to do with him, and he only needed to step in if Yanhuang faced any problems. As long as Fang Jueyu was alive, his legend would forever remain in Yanhuang. Besides, with such good treatment, only a fool would cause trouble in Yanhuang. Even those in the Ming realm and martial artists, when they officially obtained Yanhuang status, each received 10 qi gathering pills, and from then on, they could get at least the same amount of training resources every month. This kind of treatment was probably only available to the core members of those old families before. Roughly calculating, Yanwang probably had to produce a large number of pills every month, yet after inquiry, it turned out that there was actually no alchemist within Yanwang. But it was like magic. They could produce pills continuously, and some martial artists at the peak of Gangjin even received high-level pills like the innate pill. At first, Bai Yu and the others thought it was Fang Jueyu who personally performed alchemy, but he was just one person. The number of pills consumed daily was astronomical, and even an ox would be exhausted by now, right? Fang Jueyu was not that stupid. If he were to perform alchemy himself, 24 hours a day would not be enough. But who was he? The super-rich, second-generation, cosmic level. He actually found a fully automatic high-pressure alchemy machine in Fang Jueyu's delivery. This fully automatic high-pressure alchemy machine was a product of a level 2 advanced civilization. By just inputting raw materials, it could automatically perform alchemy, with a maximum capacity of producing 9th-level pills. The success rate of forming pills was very high, making it essentially a mass production tool. It was with the help of this machine that Fang Jueyu was able to provide so many people with training resources. He handed this equipment to the chief for management, believing that with the chief's vision and strategy, he could maximize the benefits. But on August 5, amidst great anticipation, the day finally arrived. Tickets for major VR cinemas nationwide had sold out, and all theaters were packed. If it weren't for considering the interests of other movies, those cinemas might have wanted to fill all the slots with this film alone. Even more interesting was that, because of Fang Jueyu's free viewing policy, people wanting to watch the movie did not have to worry about expenses. A situation emerged where it was hard to get even a single ticket, and under scalpers' manipulation, the premiere ticket prices soared to 200 each, with demand far exceeding supply. Such major news was naturally not missed by any reporter. The premiere officially began at midnight on August 5, and from then on, journalists surrounded the exits of major cinemas. This movie attracted the attention of countless people, naturally receiving major focus, as they aimed to get fan feedback as soon as possible. Well, holy shit, holy shit. Even outside the theater, waves of exclamations rang out. Even the reporters, had they not been on an assignment, wanted to rush in to see what kind of movie could make people rave like this. The movie ran for a total of 4 hours. Just as the reporters' eyes were about to develop dark circles, the film finally ended. They're coming out. At the entrance of the theater in Beta Square, Jiangnan City, the doors of the first hall opened, and the reporters, ready to pounce, rushed forward like a tiger waiting for prey. Excuse me, sir, how was this movie? Was it really as breathtaking as the trailer suggested? Hello, how was your movie-watching experience? How did the VR effects compare to those of Tencent Games? A young couple just exited, surrounded by a group of reporters. I can only say 2 words, amazing, the young man said. I'm beginning to suspect my jaw is dislocated. Please make way, I need to go to the emergency room. Huh, a group of reporters looked at him, puzzled. What did he mean? Sir, how was this movie? It was incredible. It felt like you weren't just watching a movie but actually a character in the film. If you haven't experienced it firsthand, you wouldn't know how stunning it is. Another young man said excitedly. You know what? In the movie you can actually feel gravel hitting your face, the high temperature of flames making you feel the heat, and when it rains, you feel your body getting wet. No more talking, I need to get tickets again. I have to see it again. Now that's what I call a movie. Whether it's the fidelity to the original, the actors' performances, or the special effects, what was all that crap before? But each person gave extremely high praise for this movie. Everyone could only get 1 free ticket with their ID, but they could still spend money to buy tickets for subsequent screenings. The ticket purchasing system opened at the end of the premiere, and nearly everyone who watched it once wanted to see it a second time. Despite the ticket price being as high as 88 yuan, no one thought it was expensive, as if it was only right. The reporters discovered that several people at a cinema emerged with their jaws and upper jaws separated, having remained in a long state of shock. When the movie ended, their jaws had actually dislocated. Previously, dropping jaws was just an exaggerated term, but today it became a reality. On this night, the emergency room of Jiangnan City's First People's Hospital was swarmed with hundreds of patients with dislocated jaws, keeping the hospital incredibly busy. Temporary doctors called in for overtime were practically cursing Fang Jueyu to death. At this time, after also watching the feature film, Fang Jueyu and Wang Kong snuck out of a theater, with Zhuang Ying explaining the sales report for this movie to Fang Jueyu. Master, because the premiere was free, the net loss is about 300 million, but after opening the ticket system, a large number of viewers chose to watch it again. By 4:30, more than 2 million movie tickets had been sold nationwide, with revenue exceeding 200 million yuan. Since the film was entirely produced by Fang Jueyu and Wang Kong from start to finish, they had almost no costs, so all the revenue was pure profit. Operating costs were almost negligible. Moreover, it's important to note that it was 5 in the morning, and most people were still asleep. The 2 million movie tickets sold likely only represent the initial audience from the premiere. "Old Fang, we hit it big," Wang Kong exclaimed, having heard Zhuang Ying's report. Fang Jueyu's strategy was brilliant. Free viewing seemed like a massive loss but essentially opened up the market and audience for this film. Today's 2 billion was perhaps just the tip of the iceberg. My dad was right, you truly are a business genius. Fang Jueyu was speechless. He hadn't planned to make money at all. He merely wanted to seriously undermine Hollywood's film industry. He just didn't expect their backbone to be so soft and feeble. Fang Jueyu looked innocent. "When I say that I never intended to make money, just wanted to bring down Brella's company in Hollywood, do you believe me?" Chapter 308. Chapter 308. Days without pretense are lonely as snow. Gotta find a way to get these two little rascals out of here. After watching the movie and returning home, Fang Jueyu went to Gogh Zinyu's room to cover them up with the blanket kicked off by Fei Care. Originally, Fang Jueyu had planned to watch the movie with Gogh Zinyu, but these two little brats insisted on Gogh Zinyu staying at home with them, so he ended up going with Wang Kong instead. Over the past few months, Fei Care had completely integrated into their lives. Meanwhile, under the teachings of the teachers at Supercars Academy, Angel had developed a normal worldview and now got along very well with them. Everything seemed pretty good, but it made Fang Jueyu uncomfortable, really stifled. After watching a late-night movie, Fang Jueyu didn't feel like cultivating and just went straight to his room and fell asleep. By the time he woke up, it was already the afternoon of the next day. On Weibo, reviews about Fights Break Sphere 1 had practically dominated the screen, occupying almost a quarter of the trending topics. The reason for this was simple. The movie was just too well received. Even the pickiest audience couldn't find any faults, the only heartache being that it would take several months for the second movie to be released. Even with a production rate of 2 to 3 films a year, it would take over 10 years to film the entire book, practically a lifetime series. Some actors also became wildly popular again due to their superb acting, and the casting work for the second movie became extremely lively. As soon as the film crew announced casting, people rushing for auditions nearly broke down the threshold of the super god Infinity Film Company. As the investors in this movie, Wang Kong and Fang Jueyu became the two hottest topics at the moment. "Principal, we're begging you to speed up the filming of the next one. I can't wait anymore." "Principal, President, it's your fault for making such an exaggerated movie. Yesterday our hospital received over 100 patients with dislocated jaws. I was busy until the morning. You need to compensate for my mental loss." The movie's popularity boosted tourism around the filming base and the sale of surrounding products, bringing a large amount of revenue to the company. At this time, the author of Fights Break Sphere was crying faintly at home because when Fang Jueyu had initially negotiated the rights with him, he'd purchased all the rights to this book in one go. He'd straight up offered $1 billion, knocking the author out cold on the spot. Even though he ranked high on Huaxia's Forbes list for online authors, it would take him decades of writing to earn $1 billion. But who would have thought the book would earn an unknown amount in Fang Jueyu's hands, and this money might continue for over 10 years. If he had chosen a stake in the film rather than a one-time buyout, he'd be able to quit his job and count money at home every day now. Earned a few more billion. Okay, good, I know. What? IQIYI and Yaoku want to buy our movie's broadcasting rights. Tell them to get lost. Their crappy apps can't support our movie's special effects. Giving them the broadcasting rights would be ruining our movie. More people want to audition. What's that? Andy Lau wants the role of Yao Chen. All right, you handle it. All afternoon, Fang Jueyu's phone hadn't stopped ringing. Initially, he felt a sense of accomplishment, but eventually, those cold numbers left him only with annoyance. He handed everything over to Zhuang Ying and walked to the balcony to sit down. Having more and more money is its own kind of trouble. He picked up the milk tea next to him. There's no problem in this world that a cup of milk tea can't solve. If there is, then drink too. Yet before he'd sat down for long, Fang Jueyu's phone rang again. He almost wanted to throw it out, but suddenly remembered it was his private number, known to only a few close friends and important people. Hello, it's Xiao Feng. Leader, how come you're calling? Did something go wrong with my multifunctional automatic high-pressure alchemy machine? No, that thing is quite useful. The relationship between the superpower users and martial artists of Yanhuang has been quite good and even more prosperous. That's good, so what did you need from me this time? Fang Jueyu asked curiously. I have to trouble you once again. The leader's voice was clearly a bit embarrassed. Fang Jueyu had just solved such a huge problem for him, and although the state offered him rewards, he declined them all. So asking for help again seemed quite difficult to articulate, but this matter was of significant importance to Huaxia. Go ahead, leader. Anyway, I'm just idling at home, Fang Jueyu said. And it wasn't just a polite remark. As these lazy days continued, he might soon become just a money-making slacker. It's like this. A research team in Antarctica recently discovered a very unusual place beneath the ice. After preliminary investigation, it might be a huge relic and possibly not something left by Earth civilization. What? Fang Jueyu, always interested in odd things, was instantly intrigued by the leader's words. Could it be something from an alien civilization? Hard to say for now, but there's a high possibility since we detected sage rays in that relic. What are sage rays? Fang Jueyu heard this term for the first time. Oh, they are high-energy rays emitted by what's called sage crystals. These crystals play a crucial role in raising the levels of superpower users and are considered strategic resources by all nations, the leader explained. We've discovered many similar relics on Earth and collected large amounts of sage crystals, which is why superpower users have flourished so much. More sage crystals mean we can cultivate more and stronger superpower users. You know what this implies? Fang Jueyu didn't need more explanation to understand that these materials were something every country would compete for. The Federation has already invited superpower organizations worldwide to cooperate in the investigation, because there's usually plenty of danger in those relics, and even superpower users could easily fall. That dangerous? Fang Jueyu suddenly saw he hadn't fully grasped this world. Places like this existed, yet he was unaware. He must definitely get Xiao Yi to supplement his knowledge someday. According to past practices, the distribution of sage crystals is based on the contributions of various countries during the exploration. Before, Huaxia's superpower users, led by Long Ting, would go, but this time I want you to join them and strive for more sage crystals. You mean this time we will act with superpower users from abroad? Fang Jueyu asked. That's right. To be honest, you'll not only face dangers in the relics but also interference from other countries, so you can think about it before replying. Release a special mission, intimidate the world's other superpower users, reward, Fang Qian's lifeline. After more than half a year, Fang Jueyu finally received another task from Xiao Yi, but this reward was quite intriguing. Could lifeline actually be a reward? But if it came from Xiao Yi, it had to be top-notch. It couldn't actually be something disgusting, right? Accepted, Fang Jueyu accepted the task without hesitation. No need to think it over, I'm willing to go. It was obvious that Xiao Yi's mission was made specifically for this action. Fang Jueyu had no intention of refusing the leader's request. Are you sure you don't want to think it through? It could be dangerous. Leader, you don't know, boring days are the most terrifying. Days without putting on a show are just too snowy and lonely, Fang Jueyu said with a gleam in his eyes. My gut tells me this time there's a show to be put on. Chapter 309. Chapter 309, Our Family's Back Garden. On the other end of the phone, the chief's expression was utterly brilliant. He had originally thought of various reasons Fang Jueyu might give, like patriotism, or wanting to lead Huaxia's superpower users and ancient martial artists to make a name for themselves. But he never could have imagined he'd throw out such a reason. World's richest man, Nobel Prize laureate, honorary professor at Jiangnan University, aren't those titles enough to show off? Isn't being famous in Huaxia's business world and superpower user circles enough for you? The chief knew that last year Fang Jueyu attended the Queen of England's birthday, and during that time, it seemed something earth-shattering happened across Europe, but the news was well blocked, so it didn't cause any severe impact. Half a year ago, Fang Jueyu turned the exchange markets of over a dozen countries upside down, swept away billions of US dollars, and left gracefully. Those countries still don't know who the perpetrator was. Now, Fang Jueyu set his sights on foreign superpower user organizations. Even though this hasn't started, the chief could already smell the scent of storm and blood. Of course, he would never believe Fang Jueyu would be the one to suffer a loss. Little Fang, we're a peace-loving nation, so when you bring Yanhuang there, give them a little face. The chief surprisingly started pleading in advance. Sage crystals are scarce and inherently precious. We're eating the meat, so leave a little bit of soup for them. All right, chief, I'll give you face and I'll leave them a little bit. Fang Jueyu agreed verbally, but when the time came. The exploration mission for the Antarctic relics officially started a month later, just in time for Fang Jueyu to make some good preparations. After all, he knew almost nothing about prehistoric ruins or sage crystals. Although the chief sent him a lot of materials in advance, when it came to information reserves, nothing on this planet could surpass Zhao. Zhao, you should know about these things, right? Yeah, although those countries have kept the relics well sealed, I knew of their existence from the Sage Ray when I first came to Earth, Zhao replied. Are those relics really left by civilizations outside Earth? Not necessarily, Zhao laughed. Host, let me first give you a crash course on sage crystals. Zhao directly input a large stream of data into Fang Jueyu's brain. Sage crystals are considered precious even among cosmic great civilizations, and they can promote the evolution of carbon-based life. Whether it's hidden elementers like Fang Jueyu, or those ancient martial artists or superpower users, they all greatly benefit. However, human knowledge was still insufficient, unable to utilize sage crystals efficiently. Otherwise, there would already be many superpower users and ancient martial artists comparable to divine ability users. Although sage crystals are scattered throughout the universe, any discovery inevitably triggers a frantic scramble, possibly evolving into large-scale war among civilizations. As luck would have it, your Earth is a planet with abundant sage crystal deposits. So I suspect that your planet once experienced an intense sage crystal scramble, involving dozens of civilizations, and the early civilizations on Earth may have been destroyed or fled due to this scramble. Wait, hold on a second. Fang Jueyu felt overwhelmed by the information. It was hard to accept. If he were to claim that Earth once hosted highly intelligent civilizations and even fought with cosmic civilizations, people would probably think he's a moron. Experts would surely rain curses upon him, calling him a fraud. Based on my thousands of years of detection, there are 63 sites on Earth, and modern humans have only discovered 24 of them. Even those 24 sites haven't been completely developed. Why? It's simple. Those sites are almost all aircraft created by intelligent life. These crafts have weathered countless eons, yet still retain some energy. Their internal defense systems are more than capable of killing anything below a divine ability user, so humans can't explore deeply yet. What about my dad and them? Fang Jueyu asked curiously. His dad and those ancestors should have surpassed divine ability users, right? Exploring these relics shouldn't be too difficult, right? They've been there, looted a lot of things, but these things are useless to you until you become a source energy user, which is why I haven't given them to you. But for this Antarctic relic, you can go and have some fun, Zhao said. Huh, didn't you say it was dangerous? And yet you want me to go. Are you trying to murder me? Fang Jueyu complained. If anything below a divine ability user might be killed, isn't a hidden elementer like him just courting death? Nonsense, you can't just waltz into those undeveloped sites, but those Antarctic relics were explored by your ancestors hundreds of years ago, and the highest authority is with me. What are you afraid of? Whoa, so according to you, those relics are mine. Correct. With the highest authority, you host, can come and go freely and control everything inside. Sweet, Fang Jueyu suddenly realized. How did he unexpectedly inherit a lot of family assets again? So the ruin they were going to was basically their family's backyard. Host, to be honest, out of these 63 sites, your family has developed 58 of them. The remaining few were too damaged initially, and they were too lazy to bother. So, the 24 sites discovered by humans were just leftovers after your Fang family ancestors ate the meat. Damn, Fang Jueyu had earnestly promised the chief to leave some soup for other countries' superpower users. Little did he know his ancestors had already licked the place clean ages ago. They aren't even getting soup dregs. How much is left in that Antarctic relic? Fang Jueyu continued to ask. Let me think. All the intact tech products have been taken. Maybe there's just some scrap metal and a few sage crystal fragments left. Fragments? Oh, normal sage crystals have a diameter of over half a meter. The largest sage crystal humans have collected is only about 3 centimeters, just the leftovers your ancestors didn't want. Where are those sage crystals? They're all with me. Then why are we going? Why send me on this weird mission? Fang Jueyu was confused. With so many sage crystals, why does he have to fight with other countries, superpower users over scraps? How should I know? This is a mission your dad set to trigger automatically under certain conditions, probably because he thought you were too bored and wanted to give you something to do. What kind of a weird hobby does my dad have? Chapter 310. Chapter 310, A Group of Bronzes Curse the King. Dean, regarding black hole theory, advanced quantum mechanics, and wormholes, you have already learned quite a bit. Next, we can start with advanced studies. Thank you, Einstein teacher. I've learned a lot recently. Fang Jueyu walked out of a classroom, rubbing his temples slightly due to mental fatigue. Ever since Xiao told him about the sage crystal, Fang Jueyu had developed a worrying preoccupation. Since advanced intelligent beings had once appeared on Earth, would they return in the future? Those beings possessed more advanced civilizations, technologies, and weapons than Earth. If another civilization discovered the large quantity of sage crystals on Earth, it could bring about another catastrophe. According to Xiao's estimates, prehistoric civilizations on Earth were almost progressing from level 1 to level 2, at least tens of thousands of years more advanced than Earth now. If such civilizations were destroyed, wouldn't Earth now be even more defenseless? Although such an event seemed distant and might never happen, Fang Jueyu always felt a nagging concern, prompting him to learn more about these theoretical areas, hoping this knowledge might help him one day. It was already mid-August, and the Super God Academy had been established for quite some time. Fang Jueyu had recruited many students from the mundane world, ancient martial artists, and superpower users. The number of students at Super God Academy had now surpassed 1,000. While still far from the 100,000 mark, this was a promising improvement. At the current training efficiency, it took about 8 months to a year for an ordinary person to advance to a hidden elementer. It was expected that the school would soon have a large number of hidden elementers emerging. These people looked up to Fang Jueyu and were truly his strength to control. Old Fang heading back, Wang Kong suddenly came up from behind and put a hand on his shoulder. Yeah, my brain feels a bit overloaded recently. Need to take a break, Fang Jueyu said. Really strange, kid. You used to learn all those flashy martial arts skills with those teachers, didn't you? What, thinking of switching to a scientist lately? Wang Kong teased. Yeah, believe it or not, when I was in elementary school, my dream was to become an astronomer. I loved reading books about the universe and aliens. Ha ha ha, I didn't know you had such interests. I thought you only liked showing off and spending money. Do you have a problem? Fang Jueyu gave him a side-eye. Recently, in spare time, he learned a few tricks from Xiao Yan, and his cosmic source power turned into fighting energy, powerfully intimidating. No, how would I dare to? You're the dean, I'm just trembling here, not daring to say a word, Wang Kong said, feigning fear. But there's some news you might want to check out from this morning. I think it's quite interesting. Oh, let's talk about it outside, no signal in here, Fang Jueyu said. The two walked out of the Super God Academy. Wang Kong turned on his phone and handed it to Fang Jueyu. See this. A vice professor from the physics department at Yanjing Aviation University recently published his research saying a wormhole might appear between Earth's and Moon's orbits in a few years, possibly even predicting an alien invasion. Fang Jueyu frowned. Could the world truly be this coincidental? He had just started having these worries and speculations, and now a scholar had made such predictions. Fang Jueyu clicked on the trending news item. The report was detailed, with over 10,000 words and a lot of data and images as evidence. 3 years ago, while observing at the school observatory, I unexpectedly captured gamma rays hitting the high atmosphere. Such photoluminescence phenomena can only appear when the photon energy is extremely high, and ordinary gamma rays from distant space cannot have this effect. Moreover, I discovered another special wave on this orbit, which I have named the wormhole wave. According to my over 20 years of research, the formation of a wormhole requires a lot of energy to cause space-time distortions, and at the endpoints of such a wormhole waves are generated and irregular gamma rays are released. I boldly speculate that at the other end of the universe, Someone might be using this method to open a wormhole to Earth. If this speculation is correct, humanity would face its greatest crisis and must take it seriously. Listen to this. This guy is a vice professor at Yanjing Aviation University, yet he's talking about such absurd things. Why doesn't he claim the Saiyans are invading Earth too? From Wang Kong's expression, he clearly saw it as a joke. Wormhole wave. Someone on Earth is actually researching this. Fang Jueyu's face grew extremely serious. Though the vice professor's findings were still very preliminary and largely theoretical and speculative, they weren't baseless. After this period of study, Fang Jueyu had delved deeply into black hole theory and wormhole theory, with over 80% of his speculations and research results being accurate. Judging from the current situation, if the data was genuine, the probability of a spatial wormhole forming was over 60%. During a supernova explosion, strong gamma rays and energy could form such a wormhole, and it seemed this was how Zhao had arrived on Earth. But there was also a significant possibility that some civilization that mastered wormhole technology was behind it. Yanjing Aviation University, Physics Department, Liu Guang, 52 years old, vice professor. Fang Jueyu immediately looked up this professor's information. At 52, holding such a sub-senior title, his academic achievements were considered quite ordinary. Underneath this news were mostly criticisms, with people accusing him of seeking attention through absurdity to draw public focus. Some claimed academic misconduct, demanding thorough investigation of his research. Even certain expert influencers stood up, stating his findings were implausible. Wormhole wave. Having just acknowledged gravitational waves, now someone is trying to muddle the waters with a knockoff. I suggest the school directly expel this academic morally corrupt individual. I've been working at the National Observatory for 5 years now. How come I've never observed gamma rays impacting the high atmosphere? Could a national observatory really be less precise than a school? My name is XXX, and I welcome anyone to verify my credentials. Run, everyone. Earth is no longer safe. Doghead for protection. These scholars nowadays, using school funds yet neglecting their duties, coming up with such nonsensical stuff. It's truly the sorrow of the educational field. At Fang Jueyu, suggest filming this into a movie. It would make a great sci-fi plot. This news had been out since the morning, and its search index was extremely high, continually rising. However, most of it was onlookers and trolls, with hardly anyone speaking in support of him. HMPH, Fang Jueyu's face turned grim. Indeed, the truth seemed forever held by the few. How dare a bunch of bronzes insult a king? If one day this research gets proven true, you'll kneel down to thank them for saving your lives. Chapter 311. Chapter 311. Build him a workstation. Old Fang, you don't look so well. Wang Kong observed the changing shades of green and purple on Fang Jueyu's face. He knew that Fang Jueyu usually had a carefree, playful personality, but when it came to issues of principles and stance, he took them very seriously. Could the associate professor's research have angered him? Old Wang, do you think he's just trying to attract attention? Fang Jueyu retorted. Isn't he? Wang Kong laughed. I believe the first half, though my understanding of gamma rays, wormholes, and black holes is quite superficial. It seemed pretty interesting. But as it went on, it got more absurd. Aliens opening a wormhole to Earth. That's nonsense. Even sci-fi movies aren't that wild. Wang Kong had a sudden thought. Hey, how about we make a movie like Interstellar with this theme? I bet it would be a box office hit. He might be telling the truth, Fang Jueyu said with a serious expression. What? Wang Kong's face froze immediately. You're joking, right? I'm not joking with you, Fang Jueyu replied with utmost seriousness. You should know that I've been studying physics under Einstein lately. These subjects fall right into my learning range. I can understand all these data, and I can comprehend them. If these data are correct, then his hypothesis has a strong chance of being correct. You should know what that means. Whoosh, Wang Kong's expression changed instantly. Normally, he would think Fang Jueyu was joking, but from his tone and expression now, it didn't seem like a lie. So what do you plan to do? Wang Kong asked. I need to verify whether these data are real. If there's nothing wrong with the data, then we've got a big problem. Fang Jueyu said, you should head back first. There are some things I need to arrange. Fang Jueyu got into his car, activated the optical camouflage, and vanished from the plaza of Antian Peak. Young master, you returned much earlier than usual today. Zhuang Ying noticed Fang Jueyu's hurried appearance and suddenly realized that something might have happened. Young master, what's the matter? Is there anything you need me to do? Have you seen today's news and the trending topics on Weibo about Professor Liu Guang? Yes, I've seen it. But according to our astronomical observation points worldwide, there was no observation of the gamma ray striking the atmosphere phenomenon he mentioned 3 years ago. Is there an observation blind spot? There is, but the probability is very low. Does the young master think there's a chance this is true? Yes, Fang Jueyu nodded. Arrange to set up a workstation for Professor Liu Guang for me. Build a space station on the ground and one in space. Young master, this would require a huge investment and a lot of time, not to mention the issue of permits. I know, I'll handle those matters. You just need to arrange it, and also send an invitation to Professor Liu Guang for me. Offer him a salary of 50 million a year, and I'll cover all research expenses. Help me bring his entire research team over from Yanjing Aviation University. All right, young master, I'll get on it right away. But in just one day, Liu Guang was slapped with all sorts of accusations and titles. If he were a prominent figure in academia, perhaps his research might receive some support. But he was just a minor associate professor, almost unknown even within Yanjing Aviation University. His greatest achievements were a few papers in high-impact international journals published a decade ago when he was up for a title. The crux of the matter was that, in the evening, a prominent Huaxia physicist publicly criticized and questioned his research. Wormhole waves, an interesting concept, but we can't even confirm the existence or theory of wormholes yet. This concept might be right, but it must stand the test of time. The weight of an academician's words compared to those of an associate professor required no evaluation. Although the academician's words were diplomatic, it was clear he couldn't accept the concept. Not just private online commentators, self-proclaimed experts, and outside scholars, but even professors from Yanjing Aviation University openly ridiculed his research. The head of his research group even issued a statement saying, "I am deeply saddened to see such an irresponsible researcher in our group. From today, the National Key Laboratory of the Department of Physics at Yanjing Aviation University ceases all project funding for Associate Professor Liu Guang." Liu Guang was unaware of these developments. He had been summoned to the office by the dean since the afternoon. This event affected not only Liu Guang, but also the entire physics department and Yanjing Aviation University. Professor Liu, I hope you understand the seriousness of this matter. Your article has caused severe damage to the reputation of our university and faculty. The article must be retracted, and you must publicly apologize. Impossible, Liu Guang, a man of strong principles, responded. All my research is backed by real data. Even if there are discrepancies, it's an issue with the precision of the school's instruments. From the start of my career, I've never faked data, never made up results. If I retract my article and apologize, it would only mean admitting my work is false. Liu Guang got heated and slammed the table with the department head. Professor Liu, you. Let me speak, the chancellor interjected. Professor Liu, I know you're a man of principle, but this matter has spiraled out of control. I assure you, once the dust settles, we'll have Professor Zhu's team welcome you back and provide research funding. Chancellor, you know I'm a principled person. My principle is to be accountable for my research. If you want to take action against me, that's your prerogative. Even if you strip me of my title, I have nothing more to say. Goodbye. Disheartened, Liu Guang returned to his office to find several of his students waiting, half of them holding a sheet of paper. What's going on with you? The workday is over, why haven't you left? Liu Guang asked. Professor Liu, there's something we'd like you to sign. The three students handed over their documents. Advisor change request. Liu Guang glanced at the papers and understood at once. Sorry, Professor Liu, my parents called today. They want me to switch advisors. I've already contacted Professor Ding and he's willing to accept me. We're the same, Professor Liu. Ha ha ha, all right, all right. Liu Guang didn't get angry with them. He quietly signed the documents with his name. You can go. It's fate we met in this research group. Let's part on good terms. The three students lowered their heads with shame and left the office. And what about you three? Are you leaving too? Liu Guang asked. Only one PhD student and 4 graduate students remained. No, Professor Liu, we helped gather and record some of this data. We trust our data isn't wrong. We're willing to stand by you. But I might soon be expelled from the research group. There might be no research funding for you, and I might even be kicked out of the school. It's fine, I can borrow equipment from my roommates. Graduation won't be a problem. Let's complete the projects we haven't finished yet. All right, Liu Guang beamed with relief. His loyal PhD and graduate students truly understood him. Chapter 312. Chapter 312. How many articles do you want? I'll send them to you. Get out of the academic circle. People like you don't deserve to do research. We are offering a high salary position to Professor Liu Guang as a sci-fi editor for our novel, with an annual salary negotiable. Doghead. Please investigate Liu Guang's master's thesis, doctoral dissertation, and academic papers. Let's not have another Zhai Tianlin. The criticism against Liu Guang showed no signs of stopping, but Liu Guang was just a scholar dedicated to academia, and he didn't have the habit of checking Weibo. Otherwise, these comments might have caused him significant psychological pressure. The more he thought about it, the angrier he got. The more he stepped back, the more he felt unfair. Even though it was Liu Guang himself, Fang Jueyu felt the anger boiling up his throat as he read these comments. If Liu Guang's research was correct, and in the future, other forms of life from different civilizations truly arrived on Earth through a wormhole to carry out some unknown actions, and his predictions bought humanity time, preventing this catastrophe, how many people would benefit from it? And these people were shamelessly insulting and reprimanding him now. Fang Jueyu could understand the professional scholars who questioned Liu Guang's research, considering it was something beyond the current human knowledge. When faced with the unknown, humans often held fear and avoided it. However, those keyboard warriors probably couldn't even understand many of the professional terms in the 10,000-word research report, but started to follow the trend and cause a stir, which was even more infuriating. How could they rant without understanding what was being said? What qualifications did they have to spout nonsense? Why didn't they point out where the problems were, where the academic misconduct was? I read Professor Liu Guang's research results today. I was both surprised and concerned about his findings. If the data was within a certain margin of error, I believed his speculation was not baseless. Fang Jueyu's Weibo followers had grown to 30 million, mostly loyal and active ones. Every time Fang Jueyu posted a status update, it quickly became a hot topic. Ever since that Zhai Dulin guy got caught for academic misconduct and stirred up a lot of trouble, the juicy gossip from the academic world was getting more and more popular. As soon as Fang Jueyu publicly supported Professor Liu Guang's new post, the comments started pouring in. You had to know that Fang Jueyu had just recently published 20 world-class journal papers as the sole author. If one were to go by the clear prices of various universities, these papers alone could bring him tens of millions of RMB in income and a professorship title. Now, Fang Jueyu was prominent not just in the entertainment circle, but he was also a well-known figure in the academic world. Fang Jueyu's 20 articles also touched on fields like physics and quantum mechanics. No one could claim he was talking nonsense because he was at the forefront in these areas. During that time, the Space Observatory of the United States even registered on Weibo, inviting Fang Jueyu to work there and offering generous conditions. Holy shit, the dean has spoken. Does that mean he's supporting Professor Liu Guang's research findings? No way. The dean wouldn't be hired as PR by Yanjing Aviation University, would he? Could the person upstairs please use some brains? Who could afford to hire the dean as PR, unless they pay the entire school's cost? If you don't know, ask, has the dean also researched this field? I'm a doctoral student in physics at a Huaxia 985 University. I've read the dean's article on black hole theory published in Nature, where he also proposed a concept similar to wormhole wave. You all should check it out. Damn, if even the dean said so, doesn't that mean this is going to come true? Could it be that aliens are really going to invade Earth? But in just a few minutes, a large number of comments appeared under Fang Jueyu's post. Of course, some of them still maintained a skeptical attitude. Even though Fang Jueyu's research results were incredibly rich, the final assumption was too shocking. Haha, some young people achieve a bit of success and rush to support things without any theoretical basis. It seems Jiangnan University's standard is only so-so. Hearing Fang Jueyu's public statement, an academician who questioned Liu Guang's research stepped forward to speak again. I'm saying, academician Tong, at your ripe age, aren't you too old to be playing on Weibo? Could it be that a marketing company bought you? Fang Jueyu typed 3 question marks in a row. Though I'm getting old, I can't be out of touch with the times. Nowadays, information is so advanced. I need to use new ways to understand the world. Otherwise, people who commit fraud and waste national resources with false outcomes could get away with it, couldn't they? Academician Tong makes a good point, but just because you don't understand something doesn't mean it doesn't exist. I happen to have done some work on wormhole wave theory. Need a few articles. I'll send them to you, and you can read them on Nature. Once Fang Jueyu said this, Academician Tong fell silent immediately. Who didn't know about Fang Jueyu's academic prowess? Even Academician Tong couldn't publish 20 high-grade articles. If Fang Jueyu really achieved that, wouldn't that be ruining his own reputation? Ha, Dean Fang is really good at roasting. Believe it or not, he doesn't like using money to smack people anymore. He loves using research results to smack people. At Nature It's Science business is here. Hurry up and grab it. How does your operations team work? I suggest firing them. Too many elements. Sorry for the interruption. I'm not qualified to speak in such academic disputes. However, it didn't take long before many marketing accounts started popping up, talking nonsense. According to Professor Fang, our Earth is about to be invaded. Their technology is so advanced. Should we just surrender? Mr. Fang, as a public figure, you should be responsible for your words. You shouldn't say things that could cause public panic on behalf of a fraudster. Fang Jueyu is an idiot. I hope the aliens catch you first and dissect you for research. These marketing accounts really know how to jump on the bandwagon. He clicked into the fake Weibo account spreading rumors about him and Liu Guang. They were either selling fake medicine or explicit materials. Fang Jueyu was already under a lot of stress because of this issue, and these marketing accounts immediately ignited his fury. Xiao Yi, report all the Weibo accounts that insulted me and Professor Liu Guang. Yes, host. After screening, there are a total of 2,785 marketing accounts. All have been reported. However, an hour later, those marketing accounts were still rampantly active, even more so now, and began spreading rumors about Fang Jueyu's academic misconduct. Although no one believed it, seeing it repeatedly was annoying. Sister Xiaoying, Fang Jueyu shouted. Young master, what's wrong? Zhuang Ying was busy preparing the construction of the workstation, negotiating material procurement and other issues with representatives from various countries. Pause the workstation construction for a moment and help me with something. Do I own shares in Weibo? Young master, Weibo's current market value is about $10 billion. Xingleng owns 45% of the shares, and Alibaba owns about 30%. The rest is held by individuals and venture capital firms. Are you planning to acquire it? Buy all the shares except for Xingleng's and Alibaba's for me, and I'll handle the rest myself. Chapter 313. Chapter 313. I want to be a power dog. This Fang Jueyu really is a lucky star for our Xingleng company. Zhang Guohua, chairman of Xingleng Company, was brewing tea in his office. The tea was a few ounces of Dahong Pao, which a director had gone to great lengths to acquire. It was the only remaining original plant, and not something an ordinary person could obtain. Since this Fang Jueyu suddenly appeared on the internet, he managed to make headlines every few days, driving up Weibo's views significantly and boosting ad revenue and operational income tremendously. Not only that, compared to the previous year, Weibo's user numbers had an almost abrupt increase, all thanks to the emergence of this young man named Fang Jueyu. This time, the rhetoric about alien invasions was already a huge gimmick. A little hype could turn it into a hot topic, but once Fang Jueyu got involved, it was like adding fuel to the fire, directly igniting it. Zhang Guohua was a thorough businessman. Pursuing profit was his instinct and vocation. He didn't care who was right or wrong, and as for alien invasions, he remembered that years ago, a lot of scientists thought 2012 would be the end of the world. But wasn't he still perfectly fine now? Such linguistic speculation seemed too ethereal, like a science fiction story. But this time, his situation doesn't seem too good. Zhang Guohua also observed the online dynamics. Those personal accounts and marketing accounts had already gathered a huge troll army to attack Fang Jueyu and Liu Guang online. Fang Jueyu had tons of fans, ranging from those who admired his looks, talent, wealth, to adoring wife fans. Even their fervent reports couldn't suppress those people. Instead, they became even more rampant. It seems money isn't all-powerful at all, at least not enough to shut the public up, this freedom of speech thing. While Zhang Guohua was watching with great interest, his office phone rang. It was his personal assistant calling. Mr. Jiang, I have some matters that might need to be reported to you. What's up? Did something happen with the company? Zhang Guohua asked. Not exactly. The company's operations are all normal, but starting from 2 or 3 hours ago, someone has been gradually acquiring Weibo shares on the market, roughly close to 10% already. Oh, a 10% share was nearly 10 billion US dollars. If there wasn't a premium purchase, given Weibo's currently thriving development situation, it's estimated that no one would want to sell. The buyer must have spent far more than 10 billion US dollars. Is it a person or an organization? There aren't many individuals who can come up with such a large sum of money, right? Mr. Jiang, it's an individual purchase, and it should be a Huaxia national. Wait, an individual, a Huaxia national. Why did this routine seem so familiar to Jiang Guohua, like it happened to someone already? Ma Teng, Tencent, Fang Jueyu. Jiang Guohua had a pretty good personal relationship with Ma Teng, and they had discussed Fang Jueyu acquiring Tencent shares before. It seemed he started by swallowing those small shareholders at first. Jiang Guohua was still puzzled. Why wasn't Fang Jueyu responding to the harsh online criticism? With his temper, wouldn't he have stood up against the world by now? Yet he quietly started acquiring Weibo shares. Could it be that he intended to buy Weibo? But 45% of Weibo's shares were in his hands, and over 30% were with Alibaba. It wouldn't be that easy for Fang Jueyu to acquire them. Zhao Qian, help me prepare the meeting room and bring out my best tea leaves. We might have some business to discuss later. Sure enough, no sooner had Jiang Guohua spoken than his private phone rang. Haha, speak of the devil, he answered the phone. It was a woman's voice. Hello, Mr. Jiang. My name is Zhuang Ying, and I'm Mr. Fang Jueyu's personal assistant. I'd like to schedule a time to discuss some business with you. Do you have time? Of course, I must give Mr. Fang the respect he deserves, Jiang Guohua replied. Though his assets were substantial compared to Fang Jueyu, they were worlds apart. Not to mention, Tencent's market value had already surpassed 1 trillion US dollars, and Fang Jueyu owned the majority of the shares. So much money could crush him. Thank you, Mr. Jiang. Mr. Fang will arrive at your office in 5 minutes. What, 5 minutes? Jiang Guohua was taken aback. Wasn't Fang Jueyu in Jiangnan City, and he was in Yanjing? How could he get from Jiangnan City to Yanjing in 5 minutes on a rocket? Jiang Guohua was sure that, when he checked Weibo just now, Fang Jueyu's location was in Jiangnan City. Knock, knock, knock. Just as he was dumbfounded, the door of his office sounded. Come in, Jiang Guohua thought it was his assistant. But when the door opened, a young man in his 20s walked in. How did you get here so fast? It hadn't been 5 minutes, more like 5 seconds. Mr. Jiang, everyone's time is precious, so why don't we get down to business? Fang Jueyu said. Just now, I settled with Mr. Ma from Alibaba, purchasing 15% of their shares for 50 billion US dollars. Now I want to acquire an additional 26% from you. What do you think? Jiang Guohua started cursing internally. If you wanted to purchase shares, couldn't you be a bit more subtle about it? Don't you understand the intricacies of business diplomacy? 15% of the shares equated to 15 billion US dollars, and yet the price was more than tripled. Who could withstand such a drop? Well, Mr. Fang, surely there is a purpose for acquiring these shares. It can't be just because of those keyboard warriors online, and you want to buy it out and shut down Weibo, right? Not quite, Fang Jueyu laughed. If he shut down Weibo, the entire Huaxia would curse him to death. I just want to be a privileged dog. Once I become the largest shareholder, I can ban whoever's account I want. To be honest, Mr. Jiang, your employees are too slow at banning accounts. I've reported thousands of accounts, and only a few have been banned after several hours. Jiang Guohua found himself at once frustrated and amused. It was outrageous to be so capricious with money, buying Weibo just to be able to directly ban those trolls and keyboard warriors. Mr. Fang, what if I say I'm not selling? Then I'll buy Xingling instead, Fang Jueyu said casually. Xingling's market value seems to be only a few billion US dollars, not as much as Weibo. You have the funds, I'll give you that. Jiang Guohua was moved to tears. Fang Jueyu only talked money, not reason. I'll offer 80 billion US dollars for the 26% shares. Jiang Guohua trembled as he held his cup. That figure was entirely beyond his expectations. What, not enough? How about this? My OCD likes even numbers, so let's make it 100 billion US dollars. 100 billion US dollars, already equivalent to the entire market value of Weibo, was being offered just to acquire 26% of the shares. If Jiang Guohua didn't sell, he'd have to be insane. Sai, anyone doing business with you is bound to be drowned in money. Jang Guohua shook his head, already tacitly agreeing. Ha ha ha, then many thanks to head Jiang. The equity agreement has already been prepared. You just need to sign and stamp it. You were rather well prepared. Seeing the stack of agreements, Jiang Guohua realized that Fang Jueyu came in brimming with confidence. He, then I shall take my leave for now with the equity agreement in hand. Would Mr. Fang care to join me for a meal? This transaction was the biggest business deal Jiang Guohua had ever conducted, and the fastest. From Fang Jueyu entering the door to signing the documents, it was less than 5 minutes. No, I must first enjoy the privileges of being a privileged dog. Let's reschedule some other day. Chapter 314. Chapter 314. They are all orphans. Hey Yi, help me shut down those fake accounts and malicious commenters on Weibo. Although Fang Jueyu could have done these himself, Weibo wasn't his platform, and arbitrarily banning or muting accounts without proper reason could cause more trouble. Sure thing, leave it to me, master. Ha ha ha, Fang Jueyu really is a god of wealth. His stuff sold like crazy again today. In a cramped apartment in some city, a sleazy-looking middle-aged man was happily counting the cut his upper hand had given him. As a veteran of marketing accounts, they made malicious comments and spread rumors under trending topics. Although they received countless backlash and insults, they had developed an invulnerable skin. What they cared about was the traffic they could fish out. This topic can stay hot for quite a while. I need to take advantage of this to earn another round. The sleazy middle-aged man found another trending post and started typing nonsense. Nice, this will definitely infuriate people. He was immensely satisfied with his work, nodding in approval as he was about to hit publish, when suddenly a message popped up. This account has violated Weibo community guidelines by personally attacking the charming, handsome, and wealthy Mr. Fang Jueyu. Your account is now inaccessible, and the system curses that your mother will always be short on groceries, your grandma will never get the center spot in her plaza dance, and your grandpa will always be criticized in his chess games. What is this? He had had many small accounts blocked before, but this was the first time he received a message like this. And why was it all about Fang Jueyu's praises? Since when did Fang Jueyu have a connection with Weibo? But when he saw the following message, he was dumbfounded. Account suspension time remaining, 52,560,000 hours. 100 years, suspended for 100 years. Can I even live that long? XXXXX, a slew of expletives cut. This kind of scenario wasn't just happening on his computer. Boom. Damn, the account I've been running for 3 years just got suspended like this. Another 500 years. Are you crazy? What the hell is going on? All 27 of my backup accounts got suspended. But under Yi's powerful abilities, all malicious content from these marketing accounts was erased, and all those accounts were blocked. Even the staff at Weibo were stunned by such efficiency. Their account suspensions had to go through strict reviews, requiring sufficient evidence of reports, and took a certain process and time. But now, while in the middle of this long review process, who went ahead and made this suspensions? Just as everyone was puzzled about what happened, Fang Jueyu finally posted a new message on Weibo. From today on, I have completed the acquisition of 51% of Weibo's shares and have become the chairman of Weibo, with CN appointed as Chief Technology Director. If you wish to curse or spread rumors about me, go ahead and try. If you can post them, consider it my loss. This domineering statement exploded like a bomb. Oh my God, Dean, you've even taken in CN. Excuse me, now Weibo is the Dean's backyard. Who would dare speak nonsense anymore? CN's tech probably can dig up all your ancestors 18 generations back. Permission hog, Dean, you've changed, you're getting more and more cheeky. Upstairs, your account is about to be gone, burning incense for you in advance. Daring to call the Dean a permission hog, you're done for. Open up, SF Express Delivery. The host was a respectable person during their life. In the next life, live and speak properly, don't provoke the Dean again. But over 2 days, the online uproar gradually settled down from the initial curses. Still, the criticism of Professor Liu Guang remained harsh. The next evening, Liu Guang had been dismissed from his school positions and titles. Although he kept his tenure, his benefits were far less than before. Liu Guang had a son at the age of marriage, originally intending to save some money over the next 2 years to help his son buy a house, a car, and get married. But now, he could only make ends meet. Look at your stubbornness. Couldn't you just apologize as the school suggested and wait for the storm to pass? Now you've lost your title and position. Are you happy? He Junru began to complain as soon as Liu Guang returned home. What do you know as a woman? Liu Guang retorted, displeased. All my research results were painstakingly achieved by me, with no falsified data whatsoever, and all my analyses are backed by evidence. Why should I apologize? He Junru knew her husband's character well. Although a bit stubborn, he was earnest and principled. But in this matter, he really hadn't handled it smartly. I know I should think about our son more, but as an academic, I can't let the accusation of academic misconduct hang over my head. Sigh, He Junru sat on the sofa, her face filled with worry. Then what should we do? My title was revoked, so we can't stay in the school's provided housing anymore. Let's find a place to rent. We'll save the family savings for our son's house and wedding. We can live frugally in the meantime. At worst, I can find teaching work at an education organization to make do. A dignified associate professor forced to tutor students to make ends meet. Could you even find more than a handful in all of Huaxia? Ding dong. Who is it? Was anyone expected today? With your temper, how could there be a guest? If there were, you'd have scared them away. He Junru said irritably, but got up to open the door regardless. She found a rather young man standing outside, someone who seemed somewhat familiar. You are? Hello, is this Professor Liu Guang's home? Oh yes, come on in, young man. Seeing Fang Jueyu's young yet cautious appearance, He Junru instantly took a liking to him. Old Liu, someone is here for you. For me, Liu Guang came out. You are Professor Fang Jueyu. Liu Guang had read several of Fang Jueyu's physics articles, which had completely changed his view of the entire physics field. His theories drew on some of Fang Jueyu's results. Old Liu, is this the Jiangnan University honorary professor you've mentioned? He Junru had heard of him many times. Each time Liu Guang mentioned him, he was full of praise, saying the young man's academic prowess was 100 times his own. Old Liu, the title of Professor Fang is too much for me. You can call me Xiao Fang. Fang Jueyu laughed. All right, come in quickly. I've got a few questions I want to discuss with you. Wife, please buy some groceries and get a couple of beers for our guest. All right. Although their family situation had declined, seeing Liu Guang so happy, He Junru couldn't bear to dampen his spirits. Xiao Feng, I wanted to ask you, in your theory about black holes. Professor, perhaps we could discuss that later. I'm here today to ask for your help. Help me? Liu Guang was puzzled. Fang Jueyu's academic level far surpassed his. What could he possibly need from him? Yes, Professor Liu, I want to ask for your help. I want to calculate the exact time when a wormhole will appear. You believe what I wrote in that paper? Liu Guang was astonished. Heh, Professor Liu, others might not believe it, but I'm in this field of research too, so how could I not? Fang Jueyu said. Good, good. Liu Guang suddenly burst into tears, as if he had found a soulmate. He had endured too much grievance these past few days with nobody believing him. Today, someone told him they recognized his work. Could anything be more touching? If I may be blunt, those people who criticized you know nothing, they're complete fools. Chapter 315. Chapter 315. Annual salary of 50 million. Fang Jueyu's words were indeed a bit too sharp, but not exaggerated at all. Although Xiaoyu was powerful and the Fang family was indeed influential, due to the limitations of Earth's technological level, there were many blind spots. If not for Professor Liu Guang's published results, Fang Jueyu might never have known about this matter. If the people of Earth continued to live in ignorance, and one day that wormhole truly was the masterpiece of a civilization, then for humanity, that day would be catastrophic. With the presence of the sage crystal, Earth would become a coveted prize. Even if this wormhole was not crafted by extraterrestrial civilizations, but was formed by a natural cosmic phenomenon, such powerful energy penetrating the wormhole would still wreak devastating havoc on Earth. This threat might even surpass that posed by extraterrestrial civilizations. The impulse triggered by a supernova explosion, that kind of power, might not be withstood intact even by a preliminary level 3 civilization. For such a life-saving benefactor, those people still verbally attacked and wantonly insulted him. If those people weren't orphans, then who were? But Professor Liu, I have reviewed your data, and I'm afraid its accuracy still needs to be verified. Also, the data volume is insufficient and only indicates the problem without allowing more precise calculations. Yes, when it came to academic issues, Liu Guang was invigorated. Our school's observatory is already quite top-notch, but compared to a national-level observatory, there is still a significant difference in accuracy. What I've done is merely the best within my abilities. So, Professor Liu, this time I would like to invite you to join my academician workstation. What? Academician workstation? Liu Guang was stunned. Wasn't Fang Jueyu just recently promoted to professor? How was he suddenly becoming an academician? A 21-year-old academician, this was incredible. The last time the head left, Fang Jueyu had entrusted him with several key technologies, enough to change Huaxia's international standing for the next decade. After review and research by other academicians, those technologies were completely without issue. Although Jiangnan University had just submitted Fang Jueyu's application for academician, the process merely involved three conditions. The first was academic achievements, the second was contributions to the nation, and the third was support from other academicians. Fang Jueyu easily met these three conditions, and it could be said his status as an academician was already confirmed in advance. Thus, the Huaxia Science Academy had already designated a plot of land near Jiangnan University to start building Fang Jueyu's academician workstation. The land for this workstation was provided by the state. To avoid burdening the country further, Fang Jueyu voluntarily took on the construction costs. Whatever instruments or equipment needed, he resolved them himself, a portion of which he intended to use for researching the wormhole issue. Fang Jueyu briefly explained the matter and then said, "Professor Liu, I intend to allocate a quarter of the space in my workstation to establish an observatory and a quantum physics research institute. However, I don't have much time and am short on personnel, so I hope you can help me." But Liu Guang was at a loss. But my position is still at Yanjing Aviation University, and several of my graduate and doctoral students still need to graduate. That's a minor issue, Fang Jueyu said. I can help you transfer your position to Jiangnan University, but your title will remain unchanged for now. I can also specially recruit your students under my name. As for their graduation, I won't hinder it. Once they've met the graduation requirements, I'll let them go, and they can even stay at the workstation afterward if they wish. Really? Liu Guang seemed to find a ray of hope. It was his students he worried about most. The ones he felt most remorse for were not his own family, but those students who trusted him and stayed in his research group. Fang Jueyu's offer undeniably won him immense goodwill. Also, Professor Liu, I have some unpublished research in the quantum domain that will be very helpful for this project. I can share it all with you. Hearing this, Liu Guang could barely contain himself from agreeing immediately. Fang Jueyu had unpublished research. Just how exceptional was he? In addition, Professor Liu, due to your title, the school's benefits might not be great. I'm willing to hire you at an annual salary of 50 million. I've already had my assistant send the contract to your email. Liu Guang, who had been busy handling various affairs since yesterday, hadn't even opened his email to look. When he heard this figure, he was taken aback. Some might think that holding the title of associate professor would yield a considerable income, but it's not necessarily the case. Generally, in-system university teachers with an associate senior title only earn about 5,000 to 7,000 a month, with slightly better benefits at most. Those teachers with very high incomes usually earn more by working with enterprises or taking on projects to increase their income through service fees. Not to mention, Liu Guang's research area leaned more toward theory and had little connection with enterprises, and by nature, he was wholly dedicated to academia. Even the research funding he obtained was entirely invested back into research. So all along, he just managed to get by financially. After all, in a place like Yanjing where land was precious, he also had to arrange a house for his son. It was often heard that Fang Jueyu spent money like water, with money being just a number to him. Now Liu Guang truly understood what that meant. Even though this academician workstation, once completed, and the study of the anomalous phenomena outside Earth's orbit were entirely philanthropic, bringing him no benefits, he not only invested a huge sum into building this research center, but also offered a high salary to hire him. This was truly wealthy. Professor Liu, Fang Jueyu waved his hand in front of him. Are you satisfied with this salary? Satisfied, very satisfied. Before Liu Guang could even respond, his wife, He Junru, hurried over. She had been about to go out grocery shopping and just happened to hear this part. Weren't you going to buy groceries? Liu Guang was clearly a bit embarrassed. What's wrong? It's not like you're discussing national secrets. You're helping Xiao Fang with work and he's paying you. It's perfectly reasonable. If Liu Guang took on the work from Fang Jueyu, he would get the research funding, and the household income would improve. Of course, He Junru was 100% in favor. Xiao Feng, I'm agreeing on behalf of our old Liu. Fang Jueyu smiled. It seemed Professor Liu Guang didn't hold much status at home. All right then, I'll wire you the first year's salary, Fang Jueyu said. This academician workstation is being built in Jiangnan City. Since you're moving from far away, you'll need money for settling in and such. Is it really okay? What's so bad about it? He Junru interrupted Liu Guang again. This is Xiao Feng's sincere gesture. You old man understand nothing but research. Xiao Feng, I thank you on behalf of our old Liu. Ha, teacher, he is straightforward. I'll transfer the money shortly. Please start packing this week, and next week I'll send someone to pick you both up. All right. You guys continue your chat. I'm off to buy groceries. He Junru, full of smiles, hummed a little tune as she left.